Hello friends, welcome back. Junior from Classic VW Bug. So today was my second physical therapy with my physical therapist, and it seems like I am doing the right thing. I am following all of the guidance and instructions that I need to do to get into a speedy recovery. And so I think that during this last 5 weeks that I have been just sitting, not doing nothing, which is very uncommon for me. I have learned a lot of things about the surgery that I had in terms of, or in regards to a rotator cuff surgery, and it wasn't really until yesterday where I learned a lot of things watching some of the other videos from some of the other surgery procedures and similar procedures that they do to suture your rotator cuff during the surgery procedure. And so they use different techniques, and it's really important, and I think that's the part that I could not grasp from having a simple surgery, in and out, and then go home and follow these instructions. So, and the thing is that during the first 5 weeks of that rotator cuff surgery, where you have your sling, basically what they're doing is they're sacrificing some of that mobility process for you to get back into motion, just to make sure that whatever they suture with your muscle and your rotator cuff and in that section right there has healed. And then that's why after that, then you get into that other set of therapies where they tell you to do these exercises at home, and then they tell you to do these exercises in the actual therapy facility. So in my case, I think mine was a little complicated because I had 90% of my rotator cuff was actually torn, and so they had to do some other stuff in there. But again, I feel like I am recovering well. It's going well for me. They did permanently told me to stay out of the sling, except, and that was an except today, I was told and advised, if you feel like you're going to do something in the house and you think that you're going to forget that you're not supposed to do any type of pull or strength or any physical work that involves power or you using that arm, put the sling on while you're doing that. And so I think that's the part that makes sense for me, because I was explaining to my therapist, I'm driving crazy not being able to do anything at all. And I think that, from our conversations, I reminded him that I like to restore classic cars, and that I thought that there could be certain things that I could do with my left hand without having to expose my right hand or my right arm, the one that I had surgery on, and not risk it, And he said, yeah, I agree, but so like very light stuff, like something I asked, could I possibly grab a piece of sandpaper and sand over a light surface rust surface? And he said, yeah, you could do that. Just make sure that you're not using your right arm. Now, I'm not saying that he instructed me to do that. I'm saying that I asked him if I could do that. But he was very adamant about telling me, make sure you're not using your right arm. And if you think that you might risk a chance of doing that, for example, you guys know that when we do mechanical work, we have to do a torque, right? Torquing and tightening nuts and stuff like that. And so then you have to apply some kind of a power or pressure to the wrench and to be able to do that. And so I think that if I don't use my right arm and I use my left arm in my left hand, I could still do that. But again, reiterate, make sure that if you're going to do something like that, then wear your sling so that you don't forget that you're not supposed to be using yet your arm to do any kind of pull or push with it, because then you risk your surgery, and then it'll all go down to south. So I think that what I'm trying to say here is that I may be able to get back to working on my cars as long as I don't have to use my right arm to do any kind of work with it, any physical work that involves any power or things like that. As of right now, I have been instructed not even try to lift anything that's more than 2 pounds, and I can tell that I don't have the muscle power yet to do that. And so I have been doing my my in-home therapy by the book 3 times a day as I was instructed. And today I was informed that next time I come back for my third physical therapy, they might delete some of those and add others, because basically the exercises I am doing right now are to gain back that memory motion, for my rotator cuff to get back that motion, that rotation needed. And yes, I asked it a few more questions about why, when I was trying to do some exercises and I was trying to move my shoulder, it looked awkward, like it tethered my whole shoulder with the other muscles to do a certain awkward movements when I was trying to do that. And the reason for that is because right now I have not yet gained that stretch, that space that needs to get there in order for my rotator cuff to properly rotate and do what it needs to do. Eventually I was actually advised that I will be fine, and when I do certain movements, it won't tether the other muscle that's part of that area to move at the same time. It will actually allow it to flex, which makes sense. And then because they do some kind of anchoring in there, in the bone and in the I guess in the tendon area right there. So that's why you can feel that some spots may just feel a little bit more sore than others. So sore, yeah, the ice helps a lot, and the stretching helps a lot. So what I'm trying to say is, if you ever have a surgery like this, stick to the plan. Listen to the people that are the experts in the area, and don't try to push your limits, even if you think that you can do that. Why am I telling you that? Because I am that kind of guy who likes to push the limits. And so what I have learned with this process is to be patient, to not do things that I am not supposed to be, or that I think that I can do. So don't do nothing yet until I have been instructed that I am good to do it. So that's what I have learned from this process. Well, anyway, so eventually, I think as time permits and I feel like that things are going well, I may get back to working in my cars, and I think that I'll find things to do that will help move the progress of the restoration process with the bus, but not risk a chance that I might hurt myself in the process. All right, friends, that was just a short video right there. If you are a person who has had a rotator cuff surgery, stick to the plan. That's all I can say. Well, that's pretty much it for today. This is Junior from Classic VW Bucks. Until then, Junior out.